And welcome back to another episode of Barbershop Talk Like This. I'm your host, Trey the Barber.
And it's your other host, Dicethebarber.
It's on delay like a motherfucker. And in the building today, our guest, my man, writer, editor, journalist, Mr. Brad Wete. What's going on, sir?
Wete.
Listen,
he's from Cameroon.
I've been calling this nigga Wheat forever.
Wheat is W-H-E-A-T, nigga. It ain't.
I always say, even when I was a kid, teachers would always say it's so messed up, and they saw it so messed up in the most messed up way. If you're gonna say it correctly, incorrectly, then it's wheat. And I'm not gonna try like extra hard to like correct you or like check it because it makes sense. Like if it was a P that started my name, then it'd be Pete. But like people would say like PD. I'm not. My name is would never in a million years be Wheaty or any of that other stuff. But I will take wheat. But as far as like love and respect and getting it right when it matters, like on the podcast,
Wete. Damn, all these
West African,
my nigga, listen,
West African Cameroon, right?
Cameroon.
Yeah.
Here's the fun. Listen, I've been cutting Brad for a few years now, quite a few years. And bro, listen, in my mind, I guess I've never asked him. You know what I'm saying? So when I read it, he's always
you
been
see his
Brad,
appointment pop up, and you be like, oh yeah, Brad Wete is coming.
You just don't understand how messed up I am because he's been Brad Wete in my mind for years.
I don't hear it. So in his mind.
Right? Yeah, I don't call
all
it
you hear is Brad.
I don't say, hey, Brad Wete. You know what I'm saying? I just see it on my WhatsApp in my mind. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good. What's up?
All right, what's good with it, brother?
But anyway, bring us in.
First of all, a couple things we do when we start off our show. We first give honor to God, thank Him for waking us up this morning, allowing us each and every last one of us to be here. You know what I'm saying? And just be healthy and everything. So thank Him for that. Secondly, we also start our show off with a shot.
Yes, we do.
You know so salud.
Early morning shots.
On a early morning shot. Look, I'm all tongue-tied.
Can't even say it. Shit.
Woo.
It's a good show.
Oh man! Wow. Real quick, before
this nigga got what you drink? You drinking Henny and coffee?
Henny and coffee.
Henny and coffee.
So real quick before we jump the show off, man. This week I received some really sad news. One of my family members, my younger cousin, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So I just asked that pray for my family. You know what I'm saying? Because
that's sad, bro.
It's really tough. It's really tough. It hit me kind of hard the other day. I got it in the middle of Nipsey's funeral. I got the information in the middle of Nipsey's funeral. So it was just a real sad day for me that day. So just pray for my family. Anyway,
everybody pray for him and rest in power to Nipsey.
Yeah,
power to Nipsey.
And now that's the whole situation was sad within itself. That happened the day of our last podcast.
Yeah, our last podcast that later on that day is when Nipsey had got shot, and it's crazy because on the way to the podcast that whole morning, something just got me up. I just was like, let me throw this Nipsey album on. You know what I mean? Because I had heard it plenty of times, and just that morning, for some reason, out of nowhere, because that album been out since 2018. I listened to it plenty of times, but that morning I was like, yo, let me throw this on. I want to hear some real hood shit.
Had you ever got to meet Nipsey?
Yeah, it's been a good while since I sat down with him in person, but when he was a super new artist, I was like when something like this happens, you think about like who you've interacted with, and probably like in 2008, I think 2008, 2009, I was just starting out as a music journalist, and I worked at Vibe magazine, and it's a traditional thing when you're a new artist and you're trying to get like seen and heard or whatever, like your team, your PR agency or whatever the case may be, will reach out to magazines and have you come by and just play your music. So he came by with this like small team, and I'm like an assistant, so my job is like to wrangle in the rest of the staff and get people excited for like someone you never heard of before. So I'm like walking around the office to like marketing teams and like our editor in chief just being like, yo, this is a guy, he's kind of like Snoop, just selling them like
everybody was comparing him.
He's kind of like Snoop.
Had the braids, skinny.
He got the braids. He's skinny. He's like pretty chill.
Sound like him a little bit.
He's talking G shit. You know what I mean? So got got a handful of people who came in, and he was a cool dude. You know, as you know, the music was solid and legit. But I think similar to what people are realizing, if you're not like a super fan already, is like he was a lot more than music. So he was coming in, and he was like, I've seen YouTube and viral clips lately of him talking about like real estate and trying to do more than just music and put on for his neighborhood. And that's what he was talking about in 2008. Like, you know, he was playing a couple of tracks like Hustle in the House, a couple of like underground joints, and at the time, like, people who only knew him were probably people from around the way here. But yeah, good dude. Just always enjoyed, you know, seeing him kind of just get bigger and bigger, because he really had more so a slow grind. You know, even to this day, he never had like a massive hit or anything like that. But you know, the ascension was
like the streets, like real street dudes, like they knew who Nipsey was. You know, and it took a long time before he really, you know, flourished to the whole world and shit. You know, he started and people really started listening to his music. Like he used to like people don't like he always came by the taco spot right there by the barbershop.
By the barbershop.
Right there by the barbershop. And every time I seen him, know what I mean, I say what up. Know what I mean, he always say what up, bro. You know what I'm saying? And kind of keep it pushing and shit. Like, always a cool dude. Whenever people want to take pictures with him and shit, like he'll take the pictures with him. He'll be at the 7-Eleven giving out free shit out his trunk all the time. Like, real cool dude, bro. Know what I mean?
It's a very sad situation. And honestly, for me, it was more of a slow building, mournful type feeling, I guess you can say. You know, because, you know, just being out and being in the neighborhoods and just knowing what LA is about, my background, you know what I'm saying? So the initial, you know, information about the death, it didn't really affect me. You know what I'm saying? But as the days went on and it really started to set in me and really started to think about this young man, and I'm like, damn, this shit is really fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not just another death. It's not just another rapper shot. You know what I'm saying? Dude was really doing some positive things. You know what I'm saying?
Real
and
positive.
It's just unfortunate that we have to deal with so much hate and envy amongst ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely crazy, man, because like he was doing so much for the community. Like everything he did. Like I seen one thing, somebody was saying that when he had his mixtape that he was selling for $100.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason why he was selling it for $100, and he was telling people he was giving away free mixtapes too. Jay-Z bought 1,000 of them for $1,000. So like that was 10,000 from the rip. And the reason why he was charging for that is because he said it was an investment into the hood. You know what I mean? So everything that he sold for $100, he was going to put back into the hood. So it wasn't just selling it for $100 just to keep it in his pocket. It was selling that shit for $100 to put back in the hood, and that's exactly what he did. You know what I mean? He lived up to his word. He invested into that whole lot where the Marathon store is at. He bought the whole lot. He bought the Fat Burger. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole section was basically his, and he hired everybody from the hood. Like I was listening to Big Boy, and somebody said that. They went into the store, and his dad was in there at the cash register. You know what I'm saying? Like he just kept that shit with the family, with everybody.
Yeah, it's good. I hate that having that feeling. Like even in movies, let alone real life, where it's like it feels like the bad guys won. So I'm really hoping, you know, the best comes from like the worst situation where it's like people really carry on that legacy. You hear a lot of people saying like the marathon continues, and really taking that message and pushing forward. So hopefully like that block and that community that he built with his businesses like keeps going and keeps going.
I hope that it shows. I hope that it shows like young people out there that you can make it out the hood, and I mean, there's certain things that you can do, and I think the marathon will continue because not only did they, all right, Nipsey might have died, but a whole bunch of other Nipseys got born.
Right.
I was talking.
You know
about
what I'm saying? Like a whole bunch of Nipseys got born, like because everybody's gonna be motivated to do what he was trying to do and what he's gonna continue to do.
I was talking about this the other day with somebody, and it's so fucked up because it's such a catch-22 for anybody black that becomes successful, whether it be, you know, in the music or just in your regular life, that if you leave the hood, then they like, oh, you turned your back on the hood. You made your money, you made it out, you turned your back on the hood. But if you stay in the hood, then this type of shit happens. So it's like, it's such a catch-22 for us, man. It's like, like he was.
But
showing
it wasn't even that. It was just one dumbass motherfucker.
It doesn't matter, but that's all it takes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
and the unfortunate part is, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, yo, we got to stop doing this because he was trying to show. He was trying to show cats the way to like, yo, you can still be in the hood. You can still be connected with your people, the same people that you came up with, the same people that put you on, the same people that supported you. And he was showing you that you can do it. And then along comes this fucking idiot. And just, you know what I'm saying? It just fucks everything up.
It's crazy because, like, you know, from what people say, they say his whole day wasn't his normal movement. You know what I'm saying? Like when he left out the crib, he was going to go show love. He was going to go meet up with his boy who just got out of jail from doing 20 to show him love, to give him some clothes. You know what I mean? Before he seen his family, like he was going to show love, and his security didn't even know that he did from the crib, that he left so quick. Like that's what I'm saying. Like his whole day wasn't his norm. Like he usually would be with his security people. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. And it's a lot of controversy going around about this shit too, because it was just a footage put out there showing that there was a white dude in this white car. He got out. He looked at Nipsey. You know what I'm saying? And then he walked towards the back of his car, and the person who shot him, he whispered something in that dude's ear. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, like it's crazy. And then after all that shit happened, that white car wasn't there. Like it shows footage, like, you know what I mean, it was all those cars there. And then, I mean, listen, bro, like it's a lot of shit. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
It's just a fucked up situation, regardless of what it was. I just know his whole day wasn't his norm.
Right.
I know. So anyway, I do want to, you know, respects to his family, you know what I'm saying? My condolences to them, you know what I'm saying? Just keep y'all heads up and keep his dream going. I want to go ahead and get into a little bit about Mr. Wete. Shit, I'm so messed up about that. How'd you get into journalism? Was it something that you just knew as a young person that's what you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, my basic routine was wake up in the morning, go to, like, especially when I got a car, drove to school, stop at McDonald's, get some bullshit to eat, then pull up to my homeroom class, and dude named Mr. Haversack, and he would always have you walk into the classroom at like 7:15, 7:20 or something like that, and he'd have his BS food on his coffee table, and he'd be reading like the front page of the newspaper, and I'd always like slide over and get like the sports section. So from like junior year through probably the beginning of college, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be like, one of my favorite writers at the time was Michael Wilbon, and he was like that dude. And I love basketball, so I would primarily read him talking about basketball. So I get into college, and I'm like doing the all the classes that you have to do, but also starting to get a little into journalism class, and realizing that even like these guys that, you know, like nowadays, like, you know, like Stephen A. Smith and some of these premier journalists, I'm thinking that these guys are specialists and they're killing it, like just being specialists of this one thing. Like you can be a basketball journalist. Like I thought that was really a thing. But before you get to be a basketball journalist, you got to know everything. So just as much as you know about like Jordan and like randomly Rex Chapman and Mark Price, you got to know about Tiger Woods and then that person who's like number 20 on the PGA
Right.
So once I realized that, I was like, I don't really want to be a sports journalist. I
just wanted to do basketball
only. So once I realized that, I was like, okay, what's the thing that I know that I care about, like all genres and everything in between? And that was music and entertainment. So like, just like I care about, you know, Nipsey Hussle, I care about Tame Impala, and I care about, I don't know, like Blondie.
See, I don't even know who Tame Impala is.
Exactly.
Phil Collins.
Yeah, Phil Collins, who I've gotten a chance to sit down with and interview. So, it's all journalism is something I always wanted to do. As far as like entertainment journalism, that wasn't until like I realized that you have to really pick something that you know.
So you wasn't that guy that was like the editor of your school newspaper.
Nah, you know, as I did not write.
you wasn't on the yearbook committee. Not at all.
I did not write for my high school paper. I only wrote for my my Howard University school paper out of like necessity initially, and and I just figured that shit out.
So okay, so you're originally from Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And
you know that about me.
Yeah. And funny because again, for the longest, I don't know. I always just felt like you were from New York. You know what I'm saying? You always had this New York vibe. You know what I'm saying?
I lived there for
so
like
it's like I remember there was a time you reminded me. I was like, oh shit, that's right. You are from DC. You know, or you know what I'm saying, Maryland area. So you went to Howard. You know what I'm saying? And so you left Howard and you did move to New York, right?
Yeah, moved to New York and lived there for like eventually like 10 years, something like that.
10 years? Oh wow. So you was there for quite some time. And at that time you worked for
First, like I said, that's how I met Nipsey Hussle. So my first job was at Vibe magazine, then Entertainment Weekly, then Complex, then Billboard, then I moved out here. Then I met my girl, and like we eventually like moved out here.
All right. Yeah. So I did know that. Well, before I get into that, here's Kush of all people. You know what? I normally would never take a call online, but you know what? We're gonna take this call from Kush because this asshole is not here today. What's going on, Kush?
First of all, fuck you. Second of all, my phone died. I just woke up. My phone is at 3%. It's about to die on your ass in this goddamn conversation.
You got 3%. It ain't gonna die.
You said what?
Yes, it is. He got an iPhone. Anyway, so I mean, are you gonna Are you planning to come for our second show, Kush?
Yeah, nigga, that's why I was calling.
Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna accept that, and we're gonna let you go, motherfucker, because we're in the middle of an interview, and we live.
Thank you very much.
We live. You know that? I just want you to know we run it live on Facebook and YouTube.
I heard you say that when you answered the phone, which is why I said first. Fuck you.
All righty. All right. So
shout out to Paul and Dice and whoever the guest is.
Hi.
Is my man Brad Wete. See, you would know that if you was here, but we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Anyway. So, Kush is our sidekick. Bye-bye. And, you know, he is a engineer. Okay. You know, a musical engineer, so a recording engineer, I should say. And this is the second time in a row that he stood us up, you know what I'm saying, or overslept or whatever the case may be, on some bullshit. And I'm really, you know, so I had to go ahead and give it to him right now. Anyway, so I didn't realize, you know, like I knew that you were a journalist. I knew that you had interviewed. I knew last year you told me about the Kobe Bryant thing, but man, I didn't realize who you are. I was like, man, as I'm doing my research last night, I'm like, yo, this guy has done quite a bit. He has interviewed some really big names, people like Phil Collins, Kobe Bryant, Donald Glover, SZA, Wale. You know what I'm saying? I was really impressed.
Oh, I appreciate it.
How was that with Kobe? You actually had was it a phone interview or you sat down with him?
Yeah, I sat down with him. That was ahead of his Dear Basketball short film, which he eventually won an Oscar for.
Oh, yeah, it did for the short film joint, right? Yeah.
Yeah, sat down with him and Glenn Keane, who was like the lead animator, like a legendary Disney animator. He helped like The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, and like, yeah. Like, just as much as you will respect Kobe as a hooper and a future Hall of Famer and whatever 5-time champion, like that dude is that of putting a pencil to a piece of paper.
The animation
and
world,
drawing characters. Yeah,
yeah. They did something with the Black Mamba. And shit.
How is Kobe as a person in? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's from what you got.
He's dope. Well, here's the thing. So
I'm not a Kobe fan.
Oh,
he hates Kobe, but Kobe's one. He's like the second best.
Actually, you know what? I actually I like him more now that he's retired than I did as a player.
Yeah, I could understand that. I mean, for me, when I was interviewing him, when I sat down with him, I was 30. I'm 33 now. I was 32, and I only say my age because I use that to put in reference like where I was in 1996 when he was coming into the NBA. So, you know, he was like the Lakers were my go-to team in like NBA Live,
right.
Like, not 2K, NBA Live, like
when they had Shaq and everything.
PS2, PS1. So this is like an idol, and you try your best as a journalist to kind of like maintain your composure and speak to everybody like they're a regular person. So I don't know who I would have been had I interviewed him in like 2007 or something when I was a new journalist and he was like wearing a Lakers jersey or like on the practice floor. Because I would have probably had too much like Like, I would have had him like on a pedestal like you wouldn't believe or whatever. Right. But as far as him being a regular person, he was cool. He was like super regular. I mean, he was humble. He's like, I think he's super intelligent. Even leading up to like the research that I was doing and preparing for him, like he's a very well versed person. He reads a hell of a lot of books. He's one of the people that is probably up until like 6 a.m, like watching the most randomest of movies, trying to like perfect his craft.
That's Trey's ass.
Yeah, exactly. Like trying to perfect this craft in this new world that he's in as a content creator, as a writer, as a script reader, as a creative, like all this other stuff. So he was super cool.
So when they let you know that you was going to be interviewing Kobe, like what was your reaction?
I was hyped. Again, I could tell you, not only can I tell you like impactful things that he did on the basketball court, but I can remember like scoring 50 as Kobe as my player in a video game. Like I have legit memories of like being in my bedroom with the homies, like, oh, I'm firing your ass, fam. Like
I'm about to hit 50 with Kobe, nigga. This is some real life shit.
You know what I mean? So it was really like special just to get like the okay from his team, and then also from the publication. I did that feature for Flaunt magazine. So I mean, when you do these things, like two parties have to like approve. Not only like the magazine editor has to be like, oh, we're interested in this story. And at the time when I'm pitching that story, it's like, oh, Kobe Bryant is doing a short film. It's like, not everybody is as big a fan as anybody as you are. Right. So you're selling like, okay, Kobe, who is a basketball player, is now doing an animated short film, and I think it'd be dope to like do a feature on him. And they're like, are y'all gonna talk about basketball a lot? I mean, we might, but we also might talk about his inspirations and how he became that, and it might fuck around and not be like the greatest hoop conversation ever. And they were just like, all right, give it a shot. And then for Kobe, it's like, oh, I'm doing this for Flaunt magazine, which you have to be kind of like in the know. It's not Vogue, it's not whatever the Hollywood Reporter or something like that. So like, would you guys be interested in this? And they're like, oh, they're down. All right, cool. Like, all right, like this, I was hyped.
Yeah, that's dope. Now LeBron is kind of following in the same footsteps as far as like doing like production and stuff like that.
I'm gonna drive you. Look, whenever you go interview LeBron, I'm gonna be the one that drive you to that interview. So just call me up. I'm gonna shut my day down for the day.
Like I'm gonna be your chauffeur. I'm gonna be your assistant.
I'm driving your ass over to the interview. Yeah. Mr. Wete, what do you need, sir? Here we go. I'm sorry, is Mr. James here? Because Mr. Wete is ready.
Better role for you than the chauffeur, 100%. But I that's someone who I've never sat down with. I'm looking forward to whenever that day comes.
Yeah, that's gonna happen real soon. Like, so let me ask you this, because I had a couple other questions I want to get into. But let me ask you this: when you sit down with people, and you start to like, people like this, they are, typically successful. You know what I'm saying? Do you learn things from them, like through the course of your conversation? Do you learn things from them that you can take and maybe apply to your own life, or?
Yeah, 100% of the time. I'm trying to like off the bat kind of find an example, but just as much as you're coming in there knowing that you have an agenda, you're trying to like get a good conversation and hopefully get something that inspires, that connects with readers. A lot of the times you'll find that they're saying something that kind of like speaks with you. I interviewed SZA and we had like a conversation about like depression and how she like kind of came out on the other side of that, which I don't know. I think it's sidebar conversation. I think it's really cool that a lot of, especially like black people are starting to talk about like what's going on in their minds and like sadness and all this other stuff, because that's something that we usually just like keep close to the vest or whatever. But speaking with someone like her, which is like, man, I was really an overly emotional, sad person back then, and I persevered through that, and I found myself and found my success and my sense of validation internally, and grew in that way. Is something that I think I constantly, I could have that conversation a million times, like weekly since then, when I interviewed her almost a year ago at this point, and find a gem within it every time, because like, we're all trying to, especially in LA, and I moved here after 10 years in New York. We're always trying to grow, trying to be something. LA is the land of like people trying to be something else.
Right.
I'm a writer, and I'm trying to be. I'm in magazines, and I'm my next move in my mind is going to maybe doing something in Hollywood, maybe doing something on TV, like broadening my storytelling capabilities, like and
So she's pretty deep, SZA, right?
Oh,
like,
100%.
Yeah. She's a good looking woman. On camera, that she looks good in person as well. Like,
yeah, she's a solid. You know, it's funny. Like my number one thought when I was speaking about women is like, how do I say someone is attractive while keeping it clean as a husband? SZA is a beautiful spirit, and I believe she has on the inside radiates outside as well.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's what, and
trying to get you caught up.
But he's a writer, so he knows how to say shit. Like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, she was like, I mean, as a writer, like your job is to kind of like this, you know, describe what someone is, because you know it's not the people are reading, they're not watching it on YouTube or something like that. So I think I said something about her wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt or something like that. You know, she was fresh off the photo shoot for the story, and she was, you know.
Yeah, she said she said that she wants to retire, right?
Yeah,
after her last album, because she only had two albums that she came out?
She had a couple of mixtapes, and then that was her first like proper like record labels studio album debut.
And she wants to retire because she said she don't like the spotlight, and
this shit is a lot, man.
I mean, bro, listen, I totally understand. I mean, like Dice, you got to understand, like
Who said I don't understand? I'm just making conversation.
I'm just saying, it's like anything else. Okay, niggas, so you have to take my comment literally because
all right,
I'm just having conversation.
That's just what the fuck we do.
Listen, they ain't got the clock running. Usually they have a clock running for when me and Dice is gonna argue.
Oh, okay.
Like this is definitely for sure the longest time we've survived. You know? A couple weeks ago we went like 16 minutes. They was like, that's a record. So anyway, no, Dice, what I was saying though, you gotta understand, man, sometimes it's just like anything else. You know what I'm saying? You start a new job and you like, shit, I really don't want to do this shit. I don't really like this job as much as I thought I did. And you know what? She decided she want to quit. You know what I'm saying? So, shit, I ain't
do you think she's going to quit, or do you think she'll probably do like features here and there and shit? Because like when you got the passion,
was supposed to retire back in 1995.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z was supposed to retire back in 2003, 2004.
Say the same thing. I think especially when you're a new artist, like, I guess, I mean, she only has one proper album, so I still kind of categorize her in that new lane. You never really know what you're coming into. When you're a kid and you aspire to be like a pop star or a singer and all this other stuff, you look at like the things that you know you're going to be doing. I'm gonna be in the studio making music. I'm gonna put it out. I'm gonna go to concerts, and you don't envision, you know, the negative articles. You know, you definitely, social media is still relatively new. You don't, you know, envision people, you know, every time you go and speak to your audience that there's going to be 1,500 other people who are speaking negatively on you. So it's just a lot to kind of handle. But I think she's going to make music.
Yeah. I think because her album did so fucking good. You know what I mean? People was like
incredible. Yeah.
So when you're getting ready to interview these people, you do your research and I like, do you sit back and be like, damn, I never knew that, or damn, that's a perfect question for me to ask? You know what I mean? When I go there, like you learn a lot about these people.
The research is like super important. I think the whatever the aha moment or whatever the case may be for me is just like trying to figure out how I'm gonna connect, because especially, you know, like someone like a SZA, like those types of artists are easier to connect with because they're new, so they're closer to earth than like sitting in front of like a Beyonce. But whoever it is, you really want to find a way to make their problems or their issues or what they're dealing with, you know, something that can
so the people, you know, the companies that you work for, when you go on these interviews, do they give you certain, you know what I mean, pinpointed things that they want to know about these people as well?
Yeah. And
like how do you prepare yourself
for the interaction with like the magazine people?
The people that you're interviewing.
Oh, man, it's really just research. It's as much research as I can. I mean, thank God for the internet at this point, because you can just read past articles and, you know,
and got everything.
Yeah, you get all the information and that you need on a base level, and then you can do your deep dive into social media and see like what their like tendencies are, whatever the case may be.
You got to try to figure out how to get some information that's not already out there. You know,
yeah, 100%. So it's kind of like, it really is like you might somebody might have just been interviewed and the interview came out for Rolling Stone 2 weeks ago. So you don't want to do what they did. But sometimes, all the time, I'll read something and I'll be like, man, they like 1 million people interviewed Kobe Bryant, and then they didn't ask the second question. Like, I think that's probably what my biggest skill is. Like, people will say things and they'll just let it skate. So I'm just going to use like the most basic example. They'll be like, what's your favorite food? And they'll be like, I like bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches. So like, your job as a journalist is to be like, why? Right. or like, what's that thing?
What's
like,
the story behind
What's the thing that, like, what got you to that point? And you might fuck around and find out that, like, oh, my dad used to, after long days of basketball practice, in Italy, he'd be yearning, whether it was 7 p.m. or, 1 o'clock in the morning, he'd be yearning for this. And you get a whole brand new light shed on somebody or something like that. So you really always want to be asking why. Like, the second, third, and fourth question are the most important. Everybody wants to ask the first joint. And it's just like, take it to the next level. So the research is really important.
Right.
Yeah.
So
why did you want to be a journalist?
just for,
I'm asking why. No, I'm fucking with you.
trying to get another story. So let me ask you a question. If you could interview anybody, dead or actually, I want both, dead and alive. Who would be like, I gotta interview this guy that's alive, or this person will say, because I don't know if it's a male or female, and I want to interview this person who's dead. And it can be Jesus, even if you want Jesus.
I want to. I mean,
I think everybody would want to interview Jesus.
Everybody wants to interview
like that,
it's a shame
that's
that
a
was
no-brainer.
My first answer, though.
That's a no-brainer.
I want to interview.
I mean, because he wasn't in your lifetime, so you know.
I want to talk to Jesus, and I want to ask why. But the name that jumped out of me, like the alive, is Stevie Wonder. I really want to interview Stevie. Especially since he's like relatively, he's a beyond an OG now, and I'm just like, that's just just a super fan, and he's around, and I really, he's special. Dead, I mean, like probably like Michael Jackson or something like that. Michael Jackson would be number one, just for the talent, the controversies, all that other stuff. Like A1 artists. Yeah,
you gave me the answers before I had a chance to say why, but
but you got to try to figure out another way to find out.
Find your angle. Find your angle.
Look, if you can interview Jussie Smollett right now,
oh man,
first 3 questions that you're gonna ask him, like, or the 3 questions,
because you might have to interview him.
Oh, I would love to interview.
What's the 3 questions? Like
3 questions.
Like, these are 3 things that I must know.
Okay. The number. I really want to know what it's like to be. I want to really know, because I'm for sure that he's on social media still, even if he's just lurking and not like speaking on Twitter or speaking on Instagram or Facebook. I want to know how he feels about how people see him right now. So like, my number one question is like, yo, culturally, I know you were supposed to go to the NAACP Awards 2 weeks ago, and you didn't go at the last second.
Always the NAACP.
I was wondering why that niggas did that shit.
Yeah. And
NCAAP.
The group for black people.
Yeah. The black people group.
I know you're supposed to go to the awards show.
The one who had the white lady as the black.
Yeah, I'm over here like mixing it up with March Madness and all. I'm like, oh, anyway. I want to know, like, how do you feel about your perception in culture right now? Because right now you are the butt of all the jokes, and people, as far as like general conversation, people know that you faked it. Now, whether or not that's true or not is TBD. But I really want to know about how you feel like you're being perceived right now. Number 2, the most obvious one, like, what were you thinking? Like, what really went down? Like, really just take me through the play-by-play. Number 3 is like, how do you get up? Like, how do you? Because it's hella awkward to be you. It's hella awkward to be someone who's connected to you. It's super awkward to be a fan of yours for people who are like big fans of yours and Empire.
I always say Jussie, man. I say that he's an actor and not a writer. Because he didn't write that motherfucking story out right. He acted it out right. He did everything he had to do. He acted it out right. He had the bruises on him and shit. Yeah. But he didn't write that shit out right. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit was bullshit. That seems
to be very accurate. A lot of plot holes. A lot of like, if that was the case, then why didn't this happen?
Yeah. Is it hard to ask those tough questions? Like, you know, because
you gotta ask them. People want to know.
Like sometimes, like we have guests on here, and like you know, part of my thing before I ask them, okay, what topics are off limits? You know what I'm saying? But as a journalist, like you don't go in there with that. Like I don't want to know what topics are off limits. I'm gonna ask you those tough questions. Yeah, like is it awkward to do that, or you've been doing it now so long? It's just like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, it used to be super difficult. Now it's still not easy, but it's just like it has to be asked. So now it's just like your strategy to get to that point. I think when I'm
into it.
Yeah, I try not to play the game because people can sense it. Like if Jussie Smollett is coming into an interview, like even if you start off with like, how are you doing? And like, how about the Lakers? The Lakers are crazy, right? Like, but he knows he's already waiting for the 20th question in his mind. So sometimes you just might want to just get into it. Like, hey man, like we, love and respect. But let's talk about the issue for real. Because if you play that game, then everything leading, like those first 15 minutes you spent thinking that you're going to buffer it and like butter somebody up, is really just going to make them annoyed. Because like they know what's
they know
it's coming. It's like, nigga, let's just get this shit out the way, and move on. Like R. Kelly, dumbass. You know what I mean? He asked for the interview and then act like he was annoyed with the questions that was being asked. I was like, nigga, like you wanted this.
Yeah, he had like you talking about the joint with Gail.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew exactly what was coming in, and he just tried to. I've been in those definitely not that situation. I've never been in that situation where someone just went like crazy, brazy or whatever, but you definitely get a sense a lot of the time of someone who's coming in with an agenda and wants to push like what they have to say more so than the questions you're asking. Like you could tell like early on in that interview with Gail, no matter what she asked him, he wanted to come in there and let cats know like
he was on the defensive from the rip. Has
anybody ever walked out on an interview with you? Like, you know what? I'm done with this shit.
No one has ever. All my interviews have been like
real smooth. Like you ain't never pissed nobody off.
Not even 100% smooth, but just like respectful. Right. And if you get someone annoyed, like they'll be like, "Yo, I see what you're trying to do, Brad. Like, I see where you're going." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, let's keep on that lane." And if they don't want to talk about it, let people say like, "If you don't want to talk about something, like I'm not the needler. I'm not asking you to say."
What we usually do, we ask people when we bring them on for interviews. We say, "What can we ask and what can't we ask?" Like, do you do the same thing? Like, is there things that you like? Yo, can we hit this or can we not hit that?
I don't give people the opportunity, but if someone, especially as someone who gets to be like, if you're interviewing someone who's like massively famous before they even have to like, they tell you that they already had like their publicists hit you with like the don't say this, don't whatever. So if I'm in that situation, then I'll be respectful because 9 times out of 10, if someone is telling you not to speak about something, you were probably there to speak about something completely. If I'm talking to Kobe, I'm not going to be like, yo, like Colorado is crazy,
right?
Like, whatever. It's like no, we're not there for that.
He said Colorado crazy, right? Like, he know exactly where that shit going. He like, nigga, no, Colorado is not crazy.
We can get crazy.
Yeah, like Colorado is not crazy.
Here for that. We're not here for that. So it's just really respecting people on that level. But you're talking about like someone going keep going back to Jussie. I hate to keep riding him, but like if I was sitting down with him and we're doing
no homo,
like
got him.
I'd hate to keep putting the pressing on his situation, but if you're sitting down with him for the next season of Empire, that show mirrors what happens in real life in entertainment industry happenings. So, it's only right that you talk about, hey man, like understanding that you're playing a star singer on a hit Fox show. We have to talk about your situation as someone who's been, in the public eye in a negative way. Like how is it dealing with that situation? Like how would you maneuver? How does that, factor into your actual life? And if he doesn't like it, then let him like find his way out of that question.
That's crazy. So you from DC?
Yeah, Maryland. Born in D.C. You know, you really have to be clear about these things. I always feel
because our boy G, he from PG County.
Yeah, same. Me too. Yeah.
Okay, so you from Prince George's County. So it must have felt good when you had to interview Wale.
Oh, that's really big. I'm really that's one of those artists I got to be honest with it. Like when I'm talking to him, I will address all issues and all negative things that he may or may not have happening in his life, but I am actively rooting for his success. I want him to be like the biggest, the best, the brightest. Because when I was at Howard University,
he's a smart dude.
Yeah, he's super smart, super witty, super quick. You know. Speaking of people like Nipsey, you see what Nipsey is doing for his community and what he did for his community on another level. Wale is that for DC and really just about like.
And people don't know that
for the city.
And people don't know that. If you're not from there, people don't know that. You know what I mean? So, and he speaks the same language as you. Basically, you know. Yeah,
100%. And that's the thing. I mean, that was the coolest thing. Again, with like someone like Nipsey. I mean, we have so many stars in our community that when they get big, I wouldn't say that they leave. Like someone like Jay-Z is so massive and to a lot of people he feels kind of untouchable for all the good that he still does for people who live in Brooklyn, people who are not affluent, people who are disenfranchised and stuff like that, but people don't feel like he's accessible because honestly he can't be. Like you shouldn't be able to touch Jay-Z, like you shouldn't be able to touch Barack Obama, like he's just not accessible. But you have people like a Nipsey, like a Wale, where if you're on U Street and you're at Ben's Chili Bowl or some of like these other like landmarks, cultural landmarks for a black person from Washington D.C. Like you might see him and he might give you like a gem or two. There's a big issue going on right now on Georgia Avenue, I think, out there, where it's like they because of gentrification in D.C., this Sprint store, which is known for, I think it's like 6th Street in Georgia. They're known for blasting go-go music. They've been doing it since I was at Howard University like 10, 15 years ago. And as of maybe last week, they stopped that because the new neighbors
they trying to get niggas up out of there.
And Wale is literally out there, like as of like 2 days ago, being like petitioning and protesting like he's just a regular person.
Yeah.
And shedding light on that situation. Like, no, don't mute DC. I think it's a hashtag.
Yeah, I think that's good because he has a name. People look up to him and just to see him out there doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's a big thing. I mean, the name of the article that you did with him was called "Been Hated On and Idolized and Now He Wants to Shine."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was ahead of his Shine album. And, I mean, I think he'll be the first person to tell you that he like participated in the stuff that made people dislike him, as far as like always reacting to comments and on social media, always like, he was the type of person, and maybe, I'm not sure if he still is today, hopefully not, but he was the type of person where if he listened to you say something crazy about him or not like him, he might call up the station and be like, why don't you like me?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of fans want their artists to kind of be above that, but like people are people, man. If you read one of my articles and tell me you don't like it, not anymore. But I definitely, if you do your little Twitter digging, I definitely have some like, oh, for real, like why?
Yeah,
like what's up with that? And let me see what you did.
Here goes that why question.
Exactly. I really want to know.
Wow.
I want to know. I really want to know. So yeah. But I think he's on.
One thing I do want to know from you is, because I know you got to go pretty soon, but one thing I want to know is like a person, because you did an interview with Childish Gambino, like so a person like that, he is like multi-talented. Like this dude, singer, actor, comedian. Writer, you know what I mean? And everything that he touches is successful. You know what I mean? Like what type of person is this dude from your perspective when you interviewed him?
Man, I mean, I think the greatest advantage you have in Hollywood when you want to be as big as he's become, is the greatest advantage you have, like growing up, is being, of a diverse community and having the past he's had. He's someone who grew up in Georgia, but also being around mad white people.
Yeah, they call him Oreo
exactly.
in school.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So
I read the article.
Yeah, I know. I'm realizing that now. I appreciate that. Yeah, when you're him and you got picked on for having tendencies, quote unquote, of a white person, and all the other stuff, it hurts you when you're trying to be quote unquote down. But when you step out into the world and you're a comedian, I think he's more so a comedian first. It helps you when you're speaking to different audiences because you can connect to what their interests are, their movie interests, their general interests, but then you can also bring it back home to us and connect on that level.
I seen his stand up before, and he got a lot of white. His audience is real white.
I'm gonna tell you like this.
But the thing is, like,
I watched that shit with a straight face.
That shit was funny as hell to me, bro.
That wasn't for you.
That shit was funny as shit to me.
That shit was,
you know what I mean? Because I get it. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, he keeps his shit clean enough for the white people, but it's funny for the black people because
I tried. I wanted to, but I was.
You gotta watch it again, man.
I watched it like twice, nigga. Listen,
that shit is funny, man.
Look, G tried to turn that shit on one day over our crib, nigga. Everybody fell asleep. Was like, nigga, what the fuck is this?
That shit was funny.
I tried to watch it again one night by myself. I think I made it through maybe like almost like 3/4. I might even made it to the end, but I was just like,
it's funny, man. It's like dry comedy, but it's funny,
right?
I mean, it's like like how I didn't even Jerry Seinfeld or somebody like that would be like. I don't
like black comedians that try to be like Jerry.
Look, you think, but look at him. Look how successful this motherfucker is.
I get it, but his style of comedy, like his style of stand-up comedy, because I think Atlanta is fucking hilarious.
Right.
Like that to me is what I want to see.
Well, here's the thing about him, and I think his success has been like one whole like Trojan horse type deal because what I'm noticing with him and like the Jordan Peels of the world, and I can't really use that phrase of the world because there's not a lot of them like popping like that just yet, but it feels like they come through the door and they have like Jordan Peele had Key and Peele, which was again there was a Chappelle show, and then after that there was Key and Peele, which wasn't the Chappelle show as far as like who they were speaking to in that audience that it attracted. And then when they really like pop off, like what do they do and who are they now? So like Donald Glover was a comedian where you turn on his comedy specials 5 years ago, and you look out into the audience and it's a certain type of people, and then all of a sudden he has Atlanta, who are the leading characters in Atlanta, all black. What type of music, Awaken My Love, which is the album that came out, I think definitely after Atlanta first drop, is a black ass album, like funk, soul, singing, all that other stuff. Look at the movie he just dropped yesterday on Amazon, Guava Island. Who does it star? Him and Rihanna.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to check that out.
I know. Good looking.
Yeah, Guava Island.
And it's black. It was shot in Cuba. It's black. It's brown. It's all soul, all fun.
I mean, look at the song. Like, This Is America. Like that brought it back for you. Like did you start liking them a little bit more after that? I was just gonna say real
quick, since we on movies, go see the movie Little. It just dropped this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Marseille Martin and Genius Productions. You know what I'm saying? They're close family friends of mine. Mm-hmm. So I just try to big them up as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to go ahead and you know what I'm saying?
We're going to try and get her on the podcast.
I should have actually. I told Josh like, nigga, anytime. So I should have actually did it on the last show.
Finish on
before the movie came out.
Yeah.
But it's all cool. Good. Anytime we can do that. So I do want to go give a shout out. So if you're watching this right now on our live feed, this is our first time live, as a matter of fact, y'all. Just so y'all know, go see the movie Little this weekend and give your reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. That's it.
Also, too, we had the NBA playoffs that just started this weekend, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get to a little sports. This is Barbershop Talk like this. You know what I'm talking about?
It is. I mean, the Sixers lost yesterday.
I was just about to say, them weak-ass Sixers got their ass beat.
Yeah, but, it's the first game. It was a lot of upsets yesterday.
It was a lot of upsets.
Orlando beat Toronto.
Toronto lost.
The Magic upset.
Yeah, the Spurs won. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I mean?
The Clippers got their ass beat, though. Pow.
Yeah.
Them niggas got beat there.
As it should have.
121 to 104. That's terrible.
Expected.
Well,
listen,
I mean,
here's the thing.
Okay, so
listen, Paul, because listen.
Let's get it now. Who you got coming from the West and the East? Like let's get it now. I mean, I got the Sixers and the Rockets. I got the Sixers and the Rockets.
That'd be dope.
I got the Sixers
There
and
we
the
go.
Rockets.
Who
you see?
The Sixers portion of your equation is more so hope than a likely. I would probably say.
I mean, the East is wide open, honestly.
The East is wide open, but not if you're a point guard without a jump shot and the unwillingness to take a jump shot like Ben Simmons.
Yeah, but you know, like he's sort of like he's sort of like Jason Kidd out there. Like he get a lot of assists and he's a beast in the box.
I hope. JJ
I don't even know who I want to see out the East, to be honest.
It's hard, you know what I mean? Like it's wide open.
Listen, because it's funny. This is the first time it's wide open in like
no
eight,
LeBron.
you know what I'm saying? With no LeBron, like 10 years, nigga. So, I don't know, man. Honestly, I really want to see an underdog. I would like to see somebody like Orlando come up and just you know, I like
make a prediction,
stories. Nigga, I don't really have a prediction.
You got to make a prediction. Just, I mean, like, I don't. It's just a prediction.
Okay, I'll say Toronto and Golden State.
Yeah,
Golden State probably gonna win.
I got Houston beating Golden State whenever they.
I would like to. I would like that to happen.
And you would like for it to happen. And the Celtics. I think the Celtics are gonna get it together. They got that game later today. But I think they're gonna get it together, and Kyrie's gonna lead them. And they're gonna finally submit to like, yo, you are as dope as you.
I don't want that to happen.
I got a prediction.
I want Kyrie to come out here.
I got a prediction.
Yeah.
If the Knicks because I'm a Knicks fan, if the Knicks get the first pick and they get Zion,
oh my God,
I think Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is gonna come to the Knicks. That's my prediction.
You're smoking. First of all, let me check this. You was smoking dope when you said the Knicks gonna get the number 1 pick. That was the first point you was smoking.
They're doing. I mean, they're losing. They only got 14 wins.
Guess
nigga,
what?
Like 15. They won the game by default.
Do you remember a couple years ago when all the Laker fans was talking about we're gonna get the number 1 pick, we're gonna get the number 1 pick, and then they got like the 2nd pick, right?
Yeah.
Well. I think for basketball marketing, I think that they want the Knicks to be better because New York is a big market area.
Knicks are supposed
you know what I'm saying? So
nobody gives a shit about the Knicks. They're a terrible.
You're a Clippers fan.
Listen, I am a Clippers fan.
You're a Clipper and a Lakers fan.
I'm a LeBron fan first.
tough.
So it's like I'm really not a fan of the Lakers, but I'm a fan of LeBron. So if LeBron put on the Lakers uniform, then right now I'm a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Clippers, I'm a little upset with the Clippers until they get rid of Doc Rivers, man. I'm just tired of this motherfucker.
You don't like that?
No, I don't. The motherfucker makes terrible decisions. Like they're like, even though they're in the playoffs.
I said that I was going to call. I said that I was going to get that
Permanently
motherfucking call.
That's part of the reason why they lose it, because niggas can't hear the motherfuckers. Nobody on the team can hear that nigga during the game. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, listen.
That's what
They can't hear what he's saying and shit. They like what?
Hey, just run that shit that was running in practice, y'all.
Kansas, nigga, run Kansas. You know what I'm saying? But you know, they make it to the playoffs. But you wanna know what? We're gonna have to wrap this up.
Let me go.
You know what I'm saying? Because
I know you got to get out of here, right? You got to brunch to a 10. I don't want you know what I'm saying. Brad just recently celebrated his 2-year anniversary.
Congratulations!
You know what I'm saying? So congratulations to you and your wife. He also got a new baby girl.
Yeah, congrats to that.
7 months, man. He about to reach the year. Look, it's funny because I have watched this young man grow. When he first came here, you know what I'm saying? They was just a little boyfriend, girlfriend, then they got engaged, and then they got married, then they had the baby. Like, I've watched him grow over the past few years, you know what I'm saying? So congratulations to you, brother. I'm very proud of you, man. I hope to continue to be a part of your success as I continue to try to lace them haircuts so you look fresh on them interviews. You did?
Pretty soon you're gonna see us. Pretty soon you're gonna see us with a barbershop show, and then you're gonna be interviewing us.
Let's get it. I can't wait till the tables turn.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Hey, man, thanks for coming by, man. I really appreciate it. This has been another episode of Barbershop Talk Like This. I'm your host, Trey the Barber.
And this your other host, Dicethebarber. Fuck Kush.
And I'm Brad Wete, and I was happy to be here in round 1 of the live stream.
Real quick, tell the people where they can follow you.
The social media is pretty much the same. It's Brad Wete, BradWete, Facebook, Twitter, and the Gram. And my website is He Tells Stories, where you can see like my random thoughts and everything that I've published. So HeTellsStories.com. That's it.
All right. And this has been another episode of Barbershop Talk Like This.
We did that already.
I know, but I had to do it again because we didn't do his handle. So I'm your host, Trey the Barber.
This other nigga, Dicethebarber.
And Brad Wete in the building. We out this bitch.
Peace.